Y is recorded in front of a live studio audience.
Hey, at least I knew what The Land Before Time was. I was like, oh, that's the dinosaurs.
Right? The tragic dinosaurs. All dogs go to heaven. We didn't even touch on that one.
Oh, Burt Reynolds and Dom DeLuise at their finest.
Right? I
Oh,
mean,
man.
take that, Cannonball Run.
2. Oh.
I know.
So, Randy,
All
have you
right.
weighed in? What about American Tail? How are you feeling on that one?
I
Pro?
don't know. I don't think I've seen it.
Wait, you didn't see the
What?
tragic immigrant mice? Fievel.
I might have, but it's been so long that I don't remember it if I have. I know I've heard the name, but I'm like, I don't know if I've actually seen it or not.
I have a big, giant stuffed Fievel that my mom still has at her house.
That explains so much.
No.
We haven't even had TV half the time. We haven't had cable. We haven't had anything. So we haven't watched a lot of
What's
movies.
this we haven't? Oh, come on.
What?
Are you
family does it?
Did your family not have TV because they like annoying people to say, well, we don't watch TV, we don't have one? Or do they just, because have they seen it? TV's awesome.
Yeah. My mom doesn't like if we sit for too long.
That is true.
All right, fair enough.
She's like hiking and biking, like we'll bike to lunch because she'll pay for our lunch if we bike there.
Well, what if you got like a Thigh Master and sat there and like we're watching American Tail while you were like, doing a plank or something? Yeah,
hey,
look into that.
That might get her. Yeah, I'll have to ask if that's.
Yeah,
if that's acceptable.
I think we can win her over. She'll probably. I mean, once Fievel captures your heart, you're not going anywhere. Let's just be honest,
Got
and
it.
there's the sequel where he goes west. I
Oh,
believe John Cleese is in the sequel.
yeah. Christopher Plummer's in the original.
Right, yeah. And Dom DeLuise.
He is. He's Tiger.
Yeah.
I know.
So, all right. Well, I feel like we got a lot done today.
I feel like, Secret of Nim is my favorite.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's a good one.
Fern Gully. Oh, geez.
I missed Fern Gully. That was sort of in this, I was too good for rainforest movies.
I know, and yet I watched it.
Yeah, that played in the Fields of the Lord. I was just kind of like,
Well, yeah. I mean, Fern Gully was Christian Slater and Tim Curry, so I think that's why.
Okay, wow.
I watched it.
This is Why, with your hosts, Heidi Hedquist and Luke Poling.
Randy, what about Pump Up the Volume? Anything?
Never heard of it.
Do you know who Christian Slater is?
Oh my God. Oh, wow.
No.
You know what is hilarious about this? That this is our best producer, the one who never has had television,
right?
No pop culture, is young enough to be either of our daughter.
Don't say that.
And yet, she's the one.
Right. I can't believe
the other producers we have. Who?
No. Yeah. Does Sandy know who? Has Sandy seen Pump Up the Volume?
I think so.
Let's say John. I'd say it's like a coin flip, 50-50.
Yeah. Rachel has.
Yeah. Well, no offense, Rachel, but okay. We are getting a whole list of. Are you writing these down? Because this is like a weekend for you of things to watch. So it's American Tail 2, Fievel Goes West.
You're going to have to watch it at the office.
Is there anything on Netflix? I can watch
They
Netflix.
probably are, yes.
I have my grandma's Netflix information.
Yeah, you can watch them while you cast it.
Oh, wait, you're stealing Netflix from your grandmother? You've just passed over the generation.
Yes. That's perfect.
All right, so yeah, American Tail 2. I guess Fern Gully is sort of a good refresher. Pump Up the Volume.
Pump Up the Volume. Heathers. Have you ever seen Heathers?
Nope.
I gotta go. All right, number one with the bullet, no pun intended, is Heathers.
Yeah. Like,
wow.
Okay, have you seen Mean Girls?
Yes.
Okay. Heathers like circles around Mean Girls. Doesn't even come close. Like they're
And
not
Mean
even
Girls
the
is
same
good. Mean Girls is good, but
it is. But
yeah.
the Heathers would like, I mean, Regina
Yeah.
George does not stand a chance
Yeah.
The
against
Martha
a
Dump
Heather.
Truck. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And it is
Yeah.
Christian Slater's finest hour.
And his first hour, I believe.
I believe you are correct.
Yeah. Winona Ryder, you know who she is, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
thank
okay.
God.
I'm just waiting for her to be like, was she the one that stole that stuff?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
We could talk about how I actually liked the movie Cuffs.
I never saw Cuffs. Lolita, what's her name?
Davidovich.
Easier for you to say than me. Yes, she was in that, correct?
I think so.
She had like a hot minute. Randy, have you ever seen Cuffs?
That'd be
That's with a
hilarious.
K.
Of all
Okay.
the movies.
If looks could kill, Richard Grieco at his finest. Anything?
Yeah.
Nope.
Okay.
Mr.
name-
Robot.
I was going to start
think
naming
so.
Ken Olin films, so it's probably
Ooh.
better you went
Or
with
just-
Mr. Robot.
30-something.
Yeah. Silk Stockings. Have you ever seen that one?
Nope.
All the time.
What was the show on Friday night? Midnight Caller.
Oh,
Nope.
Red Shoe Diaries.
No.
Wild Orchid.
I totally watched Wild Orchid. The Lover.
Color of Night.
Yes. I was like, I'm just about to say, what was the one with Bruce Willis?
Sliver.
Sliver.
I've never even heard of any of these.
Jade.
Jade.
No.
Okay, that's all. Oh, you're missing out. That's like pretty much most of, I'd say 90s,
Oh yeah, all early 90s.
mid and 90s.
Any? What did I
Mystery erotica. Is that the
It would
genre?
always
Is that what that would
be
be?
whatever I saw at my grandma's. My Grammys was
So you're
where
not
you would
watching
see
a lot
like
of
normal TV,
erotic
and it was like,
films with.
no, it was like
No.
The Simpsons or Grey's Anatomy,
Okay.
that
Okay.
kind of.
Yeah, I think Grandma's going to really get into Sliver. I'd
For
say
sure.
give that one a shot.
I think she's more of a Basic Instinct kind of gal.
Okay, sure. I could see that.
Mm-hmm.
And if that seems like too much, try Color of Night and see how long it takes her to figure out what the twist is.
Yes.
Okay, that'll be a fun little project for the two of you to do together.
It's great. So how did it all begin?
I happened in, I believe it was 2011. I had lived away from Indianapolis, Indiana, and I moved back and kind of started my life here over again. And when I did, I happened on some Halloween upon a bar where the Rock and Roll Review was putting on a one of their earliest shows. It was their Halloween show. And I just happened to make friends with them casually and literally just fell into it from there. I don't have like a specific pinpoint. I don't have like any formal training. I really just stumbled my way into it. And now I'm here. I was a burlesque dancer first, though, and then I became a club stripper.
What was the reason you branched off? Was it a fiscal thing or a let me just see what this world is like?
It was basically that. Let me just see what this world is like. I always liked learning about the legends because in my mind it was more, of course, I would never, I don't want to attach my own experience to it because I haven't experienced it. However, the way they describe it sounds more like being a feature dancer in a club, where you just roll into town and you'd work there for like a week until, it ran out of money, and then you go to the next town. And I really liked learning about that. And I also knew that they carried the stigma of like being a stripper in that era. So I got so into burlesque, and there became a certain point where I didn't feel like I was doing it a service by not at least trying to be a stripper in a different regard, if that makes sense.
Sure.
So like right before I turned, I think it was like a week before I turned 30, I went and tried out and was like, if I hate it, do it until the end of January, and then you never have to do this again. And now it's just my full-time job, and I've done it for 5 years. So it was pretty cool. Like, it worked out pretty okay.
That's awesome. So what do you love about it?
I think I love both jobs because they're expressing yourself with your body, which is a medium that no one can ever take. They could try, but no one can ever take it away from you. So I'm like they could try, but I mean, they're not going to. Like, they can't. So I like that both jobs pertain to that, but I think that I like club string because it is such a gamble, but in a fun way. You never know who you're going to meet. You never know how the night's going to turn out. You never even know what you're dancing to. So you just show up. And I appreciate that right now at this point in my life. Like, I'm sure I'll get sick of it and want more structure in like a year. But right now I'm having a good time.
You don't know what song you're going to dance to?
No.
Wow.
Like the DJ at my club is fantastic and is very, what's the word? Considerate about what girls like, what music. But within that genre, and I mean, he has we've worked together 5 years. Like, he knows exactly what I like, but it all started, like, he knew I liked rock and roll and like this kind of specific era of rock and roll. So he will choose songs out of that catalog.
That's so interesting because what I know of dancing, I know from film. So basically, Hustlers and Tango and Cash, and those it seems like it's a whole routine. There's a whole musical thing everyone's got there, and I'm just shocked that it is a little less formed than that.
Oh yeah, it's you're out there on a wing and a prayer, and that's why I love it so much. I don't know though. Like, I think that clubs used to be, again, I can't speak on it because it wasn't my experience. But I feel like that clubs in bygone eras had more kind of like an element like that, like almost like skits or choreographed routines. But now you just go up, and I like it. I appreciate it for what it is. Like, I like that you're just like, okay, here we go. But also, the job is rooted more in sales, so it doesn't really matter. I don't have to be, you know what I mean? Like, I don't have to be the creative department. I'm here to sell you a fantasy.
Now, I think one of the things that where I found you on Twitter, and I don't know if I really want to know the answer to this, so feel free to lie if it makes a better story.
Okay.
I believe you said you have danced to Okie from Muskogee.
Oh, no, I have never actually done it.
Okay.
I have never actually done it, but I believe that I could at this point. I have no doubt that I could do it. However, I'm sorry that I disappointed you with that story, but I will tell you, hopefully a story that will make it up to you. Okay. I once danced on the lap of Dad. So, Dad,
yes,
I danced on his lap. Sue hurt so good, and he kicked me in $2 bills. So,
whoa.
So that is I'm sorry I disappointed you with Okie from Muskogee.
No, this is way better.
Wow.
Way better.
Wow.
That's like a triple win, that whole story, everything.
Even when it was happening, it just kept like ratcheting up. You know, when you're in a situation, and you're like, are you fucking kidding me? And then you're like, wait a minute, are you really fucking kidding me right now? And then by the end, I had this fistful of $2 bills, and I was like, I don't know what just happened. I feel like I am in some Indiana Hall of Fame.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
Where does one get that many $2 bills in today's era?
You know, he has to go and ask for them. Yeah.
For sure.
Oh, yeah. It was an absolute delight. It was an absolute delight.
Did he tell you he was Dad?
I can't remember if he told us or if we just knew because he comes in.
Okay. I'm just
Like,
trying
he's
to...
not a
right.
stranger. He's
Right,
not a
okay.
stranger.
Right.
And he definitely requested that song, probably. Because
Right.
I feel like it was very intentional.
There's no strangers. They're just friends you haven't met. Yeah.
Exactly.
I kind of think the only thing missing, well, first of all, the fact that he requested the song is a whole other thing, but I kind of wish he'd come in a t-shirt that said like Papa. That would have been like the only thing to make it one step better, but that is...
Yeah, you're right. If he had like an airbrush t-shirt.
Yes, it would have to be airbrushed. Have to be. Straight from the fair from the Lonely Old Nights video.
Yeah. But I don't know. I'm telling you the story, and now I don't know if that would be like an invasion of his privacy.
Oh.
We will bleep some stuff out because that story has to be told. But we can bleep out some.
Yes, we can
to take out so people still know that it's a good story.
Yes,
actually,
right.
The bleeps will probably make it more interesting.
What's your favorite song to dance to?
My favorite song currently.
Scarecrow. No. Okay.
No. My favorite song currently is Anemone by Brian Jonestown Massacre.
Okay.
It's a really good, like, slow burn, tambourine heavy, just rock and roll song.
Nice.
It's a really good, sexy one. Gosh, I've been out of work for a little while now. I'm forgetting what my usual sets were. Oh, I really like dancing to the Black Rebel Motorcycle Club right now, too. What song is it? Berlin.
I just would never think of Brian Jonestown Massacre as music to dance to, but you're a professional, so I'm going to take your word on it.
This song is very peculiar. Like,
Compared to their other...
it's like a singular sort of sound. It's real slutty, so you just trust that. Trust that.
Okay, no, please.
Yeah.
All makes sense.
Yeah.
What was it like the first time you stepped on stage?
Well, it wasn't the worst thing because I'd already been dancing as a burlesque dancer for like 2 years. So I wasn't a stranger to being up in front of people and taking my clothes off, but it definitely was an adjustment period because, like I made the joke earlier, you know, you're in like the creative department when you're doing a burlesque show, and you're definitely more in sales in the stripping, like club stripping world. So it was just like learning how to interact with people from the stage. And honestly, you don't have to do a lot up there. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So you definitely like conserve your energy if you don't need to be going hard. Conserve your knees, conserve your energy.
Where do you score all of your attire and how do you break it in?
I have a tendency, I wear like the same, I either wear a cut-up t-shirt and a tiny little thong or like a tie bikini and a tiny little thong. That's all I wear. I usually get my stuff from Lover's Lane or Cirilla's because I'm kind of plain in terms of what I like to wear. Like I like different colors, but it's usually just the same outfit in different colors.
And she's not being paid to say that.
Yes.
Not an endorsement.
I wish I was.
Maybe we can score a sponsorship for the show and all three of us can benefit.
Sponsoring for everybody.
Love it. All around.
A round of songs on me.
Perfect.
But really, that's all I really wear. So I keep it pretty simple. I do love a good stocking. I usually, again, most of my stuff I don't spend a ton of money on because you're so hard on it. And I have a tendency not to be comfortable in like fancy, like full fishnet outfits and stuff. So I keep it pretty simple.
Well, it's very rock and roll too. Like the string bikini and the cut up t-shirt, that's perfect for your whole rock and roll vibe fantasy. So makes sense for sure.
And usually, like, I usually tell folks if they're starting out, like, you might as well not even commit yourself to being a character, because you're going to break that eventually and just want to be yourself. So just start from the beginning and it will be fine. Like,
one thing you always see in film, I hate to keep going back to this, but one thing you always see in film is sort of that mother character who sort of brings everybody in and helps them, gives them the lay of the land and here's the real deal. And does that person actually exist? Is that something you take on after a while at a club?
Not at every club, but at our club, definitely. Our club has a pretty good culture where people have a tendency to stay. It's a good working environment, so people have a tendency to stay. And like any service industry job, you'll get, a fair percentage of people who are veterans, and then the other portion of your work population just kind of comes and goes, ebbs and flows, like working in a restaurant or a bar. When you become a veteran, I feel like you kind of fall into that a little bit, because you just want everyone to be successful. The job's not rocket science, but it's not fucking easy either. And when it's hard, it's emotionally hard. You're not just inconvenienced. It usually feels pretty personal if you're having a bad day, just because of the nature of the job. So everyone tries to be helpful, but then we also in our club have a position called house mom, and that is someone who is hired basically just to make sure that all the girls are taken care of, and just kind of keeps track of us, make sure we have everything we need, checks in on us. And they're usually retired dancers, and so it's wonderful to have someone help you out, and also just to hear their wild stories.
Oh, I bet.
If you are, you've done this a long time, usually. If you've become a house mom, you've been in it for a long time. And so, they always have the best stories. They always have the best stories. And they always have candy. They're great.
Would you ever want to become a house mom years and years down the road?
Probably. I feel like it would suit me. But right now, I'm very into the nature of my life is I don't have a schedule really ever.
That's awesome.
And I like that. And so I try not to focus on, if I was a house mom, I'd have to have a schedule.
Now, one of the things you said is that you've been doing this for 5 years. And I'm assuming, you're clearly you're an experienced dancer. This is not your first barbecue.
What's some of the good stories you have, apart from the one you told us that we can't give all the good stuff away?
Well, let me see here.
No, she's trying to make it up to us again.
I know.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, now, I it's everything's just flooding into my brain. I'm trying to think of the good ones. Because usually...
Well, how about this one? Are patrons normally respectful? Do they sort of get this transaction and this is what we're all doing?
Yeah. There is the percentage of people who are acting out of line in a strip club is always very low, way lower than you would ever think, because there's a social contract in a strip club. If you think about it, it's no secret there are bouncers. It's no secret that there are cameras. It's no secret that the bartenders are wild. It has a feeling of the Wild West where it's you can have a good time at your own risk. And there's it's kind of that contract in the air. You can have a good time, but if you act like a fool, you're going to get checked like a fool. And I like it. There's something very honest about that. People don't act up. People don't act up. They get it. Also, if you've been to a strip club, usually the first time you go, someone who's been before is taking you. There's kind of this weird culture of you never just stumble in the first time. People are usually kind of trained, to attend a strip club. Don't you be acting like a fool. This is how it works. There's always that one friend with harshly whispering to his friend. I was like, it's my first time. He's like, get it together. Like, should you be acting all weird? Have a good set of like rules or protocol. And I feel like it's probably the safest place to go. Like as a woman, as a woman and like a worker, I did hair for years. I got more disrespected as a hairstylist than I have as a stripper in my actual place of employment.
If there was something you could tell customers that you wish everybody would do, what would that be?
Any social connection is valid. I think people get hung up on the fact that they're paying for it. That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't take away from your fun. It doesn't take away from your fantasy. Like, if anything, that should enhance it because you're helping another human being be successful at their job.
Where do you think this all goes from here? I mean, everything's up in the air. Everyone's talking about the fact that restaurants are going to have a very difficult time. And given the industry, it's not something that everybody wants to think about helping bail out. It's nothing that's attractive, if that's the right word.
Well, yeah, because, I mean, let's be real. Sex workers will always be demonized, and they'll always try to find a way to not help us. It's just shame-based. But the other flip side of this coin is that this is the oldest job in the history of human beings. Do you think that something like this is going to be the final thing to take it out? No. Like, this is the one job that I feel the most comfortable having right now because it literally, if there is still one person on this earth, I bet you could get a $2 bill from them.
It's so fascinating because I feel like around everything that's going on in this world, everybody is incredibly pessimistic and fatalistic, and it's hard not to look at anything and not feel like we are all going to die, not someday, but like Tuesday. And I feel like you were the first person. Yeah, okay, fine. Next Tuesday. I feel like you are the first person we have spoken and I have spoken to in months who is positive and optimistic, and it almost makes you think that perhaps demonizing people who work in the sex industry in any way, shape, or form perhaps might be short-sighted.
Yeah, you think?
Because clearly you've got something figured out. You're in a...
the time of my life. Like,
But
I will say it's not a job for everybody, but this job, like, everything else aside, this job changed my life for the better. Like, sure, I haven't had, not every day has been a good day, and it's a job that ebbs and flows with your comfort with yourself, your comfort with the world around you, like, there's so many variables, but they're all just human variables. So it's a great job to lean into. And like I said, it's never going to go out of style.
You can find Gurl Haggard on Twitter, where she is at Gurl Haggard, and you can subscribe to her OnlyFans page, which you can find at onlyfans.com/GurlHaggardFlirt.
You can follow us on all the various socials. Our website is whythepodcast.com and has all sorts of additional stories and videos. It's also where you can sign up for our newsletter. We're also on YouTube if you're into that kind of thing. And don't forget to leave us a review on iTunes, because if you don't, we'll call your mother and tell her that she's completely right. You would look so much prettier if you smiled more.
Why the Podcast is part of Mudhouse Media. Today's show was produced by myself and Heidi Hegquist. Our reluctant executive producers are John Sauvé and Sandy Stone. Our willing executive producers are Rachel Allen and Randy Jeanette. Our graphic designer is Samantha Mustonen. The theme song was performed by the Electrosynth-O-Magnetic Polyphonic Orchestra. This one's for Philippe. Thanks for joining us. Flash, we're coming home.
Nigel, is that you? Are you here, Nigel?